No, there are no props for this week's Brews and Bets. So, guys, welcome to Brews and Bets. Ty, perfect timing with the notice. But yeah, I was hoping that some of the inside the distance and sub props would come in, but nothing did. So again, with me as always is Tyler Beard. Ty, how we doing this week?
Doing good, man. Just recovering from that bachelor party I was telling you about off air. Still not 100%. I think I'm getting old.
I know I'm getting old, so join the party. And with us, you may know him on Twitter as Dr. Beans, correct?
Correct.
All right. So this is Dave, Dr. Beans on Twitter. Dave, how's it going?
Good. Just recovering from my daughter's first birthday party this weekend.
Same thing as a bachelor party.
Pretty much.
So for the most
with a lot of crying kids.
Well, listen, that can happen everywhere. For the most part, I think we've invited you on about 35 times, and this is the first time you showed up. So is there any reason why you stood us up 34 times in a row?
Well, no, either Ty tells me when the times are, and I'm usually either working or playing racquetball at those times, and it just hasn't coordinated out, or he gives me a 2-second notice.
Our working at the brewery that you blessed us with the beers the first couple shows.
That is true. That was very good. That was very good. All right, so let's get right into these fights. We'll talk about a couple parlay pieces on the undercard that I actually do like maybe as we go along. But we're going to get right into Jack Marshman and John Phillips. And as Ty started, he actually said it right as we were going live, so I didn't really anticipate that. But, yeah, there are no props on these fights at all. We're literally just talking about guys to win these fights. So we got Marshman and John Phillips. Dave, I'll give you the honors to do the first fight here. What do you think about these two guys?
Interesting. Very interesting because Marshman, I just don't trust him a lot. I mean, he's just swinging, hard punches, and he's not the, brightest guy in the world. On the other hand, I don't know a ton about Phillips. I haven't, he's probably one of the few I haven't gotten the research a ton about. As my bet for this would be the finish inside the distance. That's what I like. I haven't seen the actual prop for it yet, but that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment for this fight.
Yeah, and Ty, I think Dave and I are kind of in the same ballpark here. I think that this one could finish. The one thing about this fight is I think if it finishes, it's going to be John Phillips finishing, to be honest with you. He's a guy who throws some heavy punches also. But again, he doesn't really have much of a ground game. So I think this is going to be a striking fight. But Ty, do you want to bet anybody here? Marshman's minus 155. I'm pretty comfortable to think that he can win a decision here if he stays away from Phillips' power.
Yeah, I think that Marshman's probably going to win a pretty easy decision here. But it concerns me a little bit that Phillips has such power, and Marshman is probably going to Marshman has the tendency to ignore fighters' weaknesses at times, and it could cause him problems versus Phillips. So I'm actually not going to bet the fight, but I do think that Marshman's going to win. Just not confident enough to put some money down on it.
Yeah, and again, we already did the Quinones podcast, so I kind of know where your head's at with some of these fights. So, Ty, I'm going to throw it right back to you at Claudio Silva. And again, just to finish it off on Marshman, I have no problem making a bet on Marshman. I actually may do it. I haven't bet anybody this week. I'm a little bit on tilt from last week. I'm a little annoyed.
Last week's card was terrible.
Yeah, and I don't even want to say his name, but he cost me probably $2,000. I wound up losing $200 for the week, but I had 3 parlays that didn't hit because of him, and I just don't even want to say his name.
So last week I was kind of guilted into playing a few lineups and using my projections. I was at the bachelor party. I wasn't going to have any lineups going, but on the train ride over, I was talking to a few people in the Quan Edge Discord chat. And so I actually put in a few lineups, and I think I ended up taking down one of the tournaments or finishing pretty well in the 15. I forget. I've been playing too much college basketball. So
yeah, I remember you saying it in the Discord chat. So that definitely did happen. I don't know what tournament it was, but
yeah, I think it was the smaller $15 tournament. But I know my projections did really well, even though a lot of people tended to not have success on that card.
So Ty, I don't have a problem betting Jack Marshman straight, and I think I am going to do that. And I don't have a problem betting Claudio Silva straight, and I may even bet him by submission once
That's what I
Pop's
was
come
gonna think.
out. Yeah. So Dave, if you have, I know what Ty's thinking about this. If you have a lean with Silva, what are you thinking here?
I mean, as far as a bet, I mean, obviously the props aren't out, but Silva by submissions would be my play on this one right now. I mean, he averages 3 takedowns, a fight. And Roberts on the other hand can't defend the takedown. He's only defending at about 50%. So I anticipate Claudio getting him down and should be able to work his magic down on the mat.
Ty, I know what you think, so go ahead, take it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. The only way that I see Roberts having a chance in this fight is if he can prevent the takedown somehow, and end up getting a knockout. But I don't think that's going to happen. Even if Silva misses on the first few takedowns, he's pretty relentless with it, and he'll get him down eventually. I don't know if he's necessarily going to finish, but I think right now the line is -145 on Silva. I'm going to probably be betting pretty heavy on that. I'm going to ignore some of the props and just take him straight. That's a good enough price for me.
Yeah, and again, I have no problem with Silva, to be honest with you. I don't mind the submission, giving away some of my my DFS plays here, but for the most part, yeah, I like Silva here at -145.
I haven't even checked out TK scoring yet.
Yeah, you're better off not even worrying about it. There's actually some decent plays in the lower range this week.
Yeah,
But,
I like a couple of the underdogs on the undercard.
Yeah, and I'm gonna throw out an underdog play here too. So for the most part, Nathaniel Wood and Jose Quinones. I'll take this one just from a breakdown standpoint. I think Nathaniel Wood is going to win here. I think he's going to finish. So if I'm going to bet anything at -325, I don't like -325. If you want to throw it in a parlay, I mean, by all means, go ahead. I mean, if you want to do like a Wood Reyes parlay, I would even go like a Wood McCann parlay or a Wood Till parlay if you want to get better odds than that. I don't know what that would pay off. I haven't looked at it. But if you can get something in the -150 range for 2 of those favorites, it's not a terrible play. But I really do like Nathaniel Wood. And I think he's going to finish here. I don't think that Quinones, although he usually does go to decision, I don't think that he's going to be able to deal with Nathaniel Wood's pressure. I think for the most part, the guys that he's fought, he's 4-1 in the UFC, but the guys that he's fought just haven't been on this level. The best fighter he has fought and lost to is Davi Ramos, who again would beat a lot of these guys. I'm just not a huge fan of Quinones, and I'm a pretty good fan of Nathaniel Wood. And again, he kind of got his clock cleaned against Johnny Eduardo in round 1 of his fight there, and he came out round 2 and just outlasted him and beat him. And then he beat a tough Andre Ewell, who had a long striking advantage in that fight. Southpaw, long striking advantage, and was able to finish that fight too. So I have no problem with Nathaniel Wood inside the distance. Although he's a very good striker, he finished both of those fights by submission. So I like him for an inside the distance bet. Again, I have no idea what the odds are yet, but if the price is right, -150 or something, I may pull the trigger on that. Ty, what do you think? Is it worth a bet at -325 parlay piece, or just staying away?
I was actually figuring out the parlay calculator for what I'm actually going to place. I don't think that I want to lay money on him at 325 individual, but I do want to put him in a parlay, and Dave, I'll let you take it right now, just because I want to figure out how much the parlay is going to pay.
Hold on, I just want to see something, but I kind of completely agree with Steve's analysis. I mean, the only thing with Quinones, he's only been knocked out once in his career, so if it's going to be a finish, maybe it would be by the submission like his last couple of fights. I mean, he is tough as nails. And but yeah, I think Wood's going to dominate this fight, start to finish, whether he does finish or not. I think, Quinones has faced some pretty terrible fighters in his 4-fight win streak, and Wood should be relentless and not let Quinones off the hook.
And you know what, Dave? I thought the same thing that you did when I was watching tape. He hasn't been finished before, but again, my analysis was more about who has he fought that I thought would finish him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's really why I just think that Nathaniel Wood is a step above. He's a class above, Quinones in this spot. So that's why I'm kind of calling for the finish here too. But I did consider that. You know what I mean? You should consider when you see a guy who hasn't get finished. There's got to be a reason why. Has he lasted?
I mean, his best opponent finished him, so you got a good point there.
Well, and so going back to the parlay that I was talking about, I think there's 4 slam dunk plays on this card, and it's kind of getting ahead of what we're doing. But I wanted to parlay Wood, Reyes, McCann, and Till, and right now at the current odds, you could get plus 275 on that parlay, which I think that's really great odds because I don't really think much of those have a chance to lose.
Yeah, no, I do like that a lot. That's not bad at all. I'm just going into chat just to see if anybody's in there, but nobody's in there right now again. And I apologize. We were expecting to have CG back from San Diego. As of right now, he may have landed, but he's probably with his wife and kid. He was away in San Diego for the weekend. And Juan Adams, we're not sure if he got held up or not, but he hasn't responded back to us on Twitter after confirming this morning. So we're thinking maybe he got held up, at a training session or something like that.
Well, he is in a training camp right now, so maybe things went a little bit longer.
He's got to fight in April?
I think it's on May 4th.
May
versus Arjan Bhullar.
Should be a good fight.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go back before we go into these next 3 fights. I'm just gonna throw something out there. I don't have any problem playing Nad Narimani at minus 145. I think he's going to win a decision here. So I don't mind playing Narimani. I'm actually surprised that the odds are minus 145. Ty said it before too, and I agree with him. I have no problem playing Molly McCann. On the undercard, she'll be the second fight of the night. She's minus 200. And I wouldn't mind a straight underdog play on Saperbeg Safarov.
That's the one I was going to say also. And even if you could get it by knockout, that's not bad too, depending on what the knockout line is.
I agree with you there. I actually have inside the distance. I have this fight will finish bet inside the distance. So I'll see what these odds are. Again, none of these odds are out yet. I'm just making notes to myself, but without the odds being out, it's tough to say anything from there. But those are the undercard fights I'm looking at.
I'm probably going to actually place a bet on Heinisch also at plus 120. And I mean, that could be just because I have a little bit of bias, but I think that he has more ways to win the fight. So if you're getting plus money on him, I don't think that's a bad play.
So we do have one person watching. ZV, he's here, he's watching. Spit that knowledge. So again, we're spitting that knowledge. We'll get right into that next fight. And if you have any questions, by all means, hit us up. We'll answer them in the live chat. I usually forget to put the live chat on. The one week we had like 4 questions, and I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't even look. But Dominic Reyes and Volkan Oezdemir. Ty, I know how you feel about Dominic Reyes, so I'll start here. And then, Dave, I'm going to give you the next fight, Edwards and Nelson, just because I also know how Ty feels about that, so I might as well throw it to you first. So, Ty, what do you think here? Dominic Reyes, Oezdemir, how does this fight finish, if it does at all?
Yeah, so I think Reyes is the better fighter everywhere. I think that he could kind of stay at range, pick apart Oezdemir. If Oezdemir does get him down, I think that Reyes his skill set is equipped to handle what Oezdemir is going to bring to the table. I think Anthony Smith kind of laid out the groundwork for the worst possible scenario to beat Oezdemir, and Reyes could execute that game plan at the worst possible scenario. But I actually think Reyes is just going to stay on the outside, pick him apart, wear him down. Oezdemir will gas, and Reyes will finish maybe mid-rounds.
All right, Dave, what do you think about that one, Volkan and Reyes?
Yeah, I kind of completely agree with Tyler on this one. I just think, Oezdemir is coming off of, 2 losses in a row right now? And I just think Reyes is going to be way too much for him. I don't know if it's necessarily going to finish. So for betting purposes, probably fight goes to the distance might be the way to go for this one, in my opinion. But, I'm going to pass it back to you, Steve.
Yeah, I think for the most part, Ty is on the right track, and I'll even go a step further. Part of my analysis is just I think Reyes fought the fight he's going to fight here against OSP. I think he kept distance. He was able to piece him up on the feet. He used his jab. He used the left hand. He used his kicks. And I personally think that he can hurt Volkan to the body with the kicks. So if there is that middle round finish that Ty is calling for, I wouldn't be surprised if it was because the kicks took his wind out and he just couldn't get himself back on track. That's kind of what I'm calling for a win there. Maybe a second or third round finish. And again, Oezdemir did gas against Anthony Smith. So I think Dominic Reyes can kind of keep that pace in the third round, hurt him. And the one thing I will say is Oezdemir is dangerous early. He's dangerous in round one. Once it gets into round two and that first minute and a half starts in round two, I don't think he has a shot in this fight. So, Dave, I'm going to throw it right back to you for Leon Edwards and Gunnar Nelson. This is a fight that I know how Ty and I feel about it, and we're pretty much in agreement. We don't really know. We just don't know. Does this fight stay in the feet? Does it go to the ground? Then it could be two significantly different fights depending on what happens. So, Dave, go ahead. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, this is the typical, striker versus grappler, fight. I kind of got a little preference towards Leon Edwards. I think his speed and his takedown defense will probably be enough to keep this fight standing up. I mean, he has a 70% takedown defense. And after watching Gunnar Nelson's latest, workout video that's been on the internet.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I just can't take him seriously. I know Gunnar's came in pretty good shape, compared to how he's been. He's a little more ripped. I don't know what he's doing to stay in shape. But I just think Leon Edwards' power, his speed is going to be enough to keep it on the, standing. I think he probably ends up finishing Gunnar late in the fight.
Listen, Dave, this is the first podcast. I have no idea why you have a problem with Jane Fonda's workout. That's my only concern right now. I just don't know why. But listen, it's Gunnar's world. He loves the spandex, and it is what it is, man. Ty, what do you think? What do you want to add to that? Because I know we're in agreement, so just speak for both of us. Go ahead.
What's up?
Yeah, so I'm not really sure.
Whoa.
Oh, Juan Adams is in the house.
You know what? We just made an excuse why he wasn't here, but now we turned it on.
No, so there was a time mix up, and he actually just left practice, so I told him to jump on.
Oh, okay, all right. And Ty doesn't even tell us that he's coming on.
I sent you a text.
Oh yeah, I'm. You know what? I'm in the group chat right now. All right, so we'll get his feel for it. So Ty, why don't you finish breaking this one down, and we'll go right to Juan for a breakdown with Gunnar Nelson and Leon Edwards. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure how to pick apart this fight. I think both have ways to win. I think Edwards is going to want to keep it standing. He doesn't want to go to the ground with Gunnar. But I'm not convinced that Edwards is the better striker right now at this point in their career. So I'm personally going to stay away from betting this fight. I think Gunnar has a slight edge, though.
All right. So, Big Juan, what do you think here, buddy?
I don't know much about Edwards, but I just saw Gunnar Nelson's music video, so
is that what you're calling
it? So I'm definitely going Gunnar Nelson on that one. But no, Gunnar, I know for a while he was kind of under McGregor's shadow, but he's really made a huge transformation just to his body over the last couple years. It looks like he's really starting to take his strength and conditioning much more seriously, and he's gotten more athletic. So he's already pretty dangerous before. I think that he's just going to continue to get better. So I'm going Gunnar.
It's those hip thrusts that got you in the video.
Downward dog hip thrust. That's what I'm calling it. So we definitely have to go back to get Juan's take on some of these other fights, but we're right to the main event right now. So we got Darren Till and Jorge Masvidal. So Juan, since you're here, why don't you break this down for us? Till, Masvidal. Till is minus 260. Masvidal is plus 220. And do you place any bets, Juan?
No, I don't bet.
Okay.
I don't have that type of disposable income right now. I work too hard for my money to possibly lose it. If I could bet on myself, I would, because I always win. So, But
And I'll even go a step further. One, we all did actually bet on you last time out.
oh yeah.
Yeah, so you made us some money, so we may owe you some residuals.
Oh, there we go. Well, I
Send
mean,
you a
Go
couple
ahead.
beers.
always pretty high. It's pretty hard to make any money on my fights. But no, for this one, I'd go. It's tough because Darren Till does have that really good takedown defense rating. His takedown defense rate's really high, but again, the only notable grappler I'd really say he's gone against is Woodley, and so I don't know if that's because his takedown defense is good or if he's just not going against guys that are that good. Masvidal's kind of well-rounded everywhere, and last time I kind of counted him out was I didn't really know who he was. It was against Cerrone, and he pieced him up pretty bad. So that's a tough one to go for, but I'm gonna go with Masvidal just because Till did lose by submission last time, and I think Masvidal's grappling game's a lot better than his.
Ty, what do you think about Darren Till here? I know you have a pretty good lean.
Yeah, so I think with the Woodley and the Wonderboy fight, Till kind of sat back and he had to play a different game than what he's used to, and it kind of took him out of his element. I think with Masvidal, he doesn't have to worry about the counter so much, and I think his takedown defense is good enough that he could stuff at least most of Masvidal's takedowns. I think he'll have a significant strength edge. So that being said, I think the fight's going to play outstanding, and Masvidal is aggressive. He's going to come into Till's range, and I think Till's going to be able to counter, and I wouldn't be surprised if he knocks him out.
Yeah, and I'm for the most part I'm in agreement. Dave, what do you think here?
I mean, I agree that I think Darren Till's could end up winning this fight, but I have a gut feeling Masvidal pulls it off if it goes to decision. I think the longer this fight goes, the brawler in Masvidal is going to come out, and the cardio cut for Till is going to be too much. He's cutting a massive amount of weight to make 170, and I just think the longer the fight goes, the more Masvidal can wear on him, and win rounds possibly 3, 4, and 5. I mean, Till has gone a 5-round fight against Thompson, but that was a slow-paced, methodical fight. It wasn't high action, and where Masvidal is going to bring the fight.
Are you concerned at all about the stigma that Masvidal has about dropping split decisions?
I do, but I think if he can, with the having the cardio, in fact, I think by putting the pressure on late, it could probably win those rounds that hopefully will be the difference. But it's just a gut. It's honestly, I think Till has the power, has the strength advantage. It's just a gut feeling that I just feel like the longer the fight goes, the better Masvidal has a chance to win this fight. But my pick would be Till.
And I'll go a step further, and I'll throw it to Juan too, because I'm pretty sure he may have a take on this. But when you're going into someone else's backyard, specifically into Liverpool. Well, this isn't in Liverpool, right? This is in London. This is at the O2 Arena. Is
Correct.
Darren Till going to lose a decision in the O2 Arena? And take it a step further, did he even beat Stephen Thompson in that fight? Because that was you could have more or less said that Thompson probably won 3 of those first 4 rounds, and then Till won that last round probably. So Juan, what do you think? How much of a home ring advantage? I don't know what the best way to home octagon advantage. How much is that going to play out in Till's favor here?
I think it's going to play out greatly in Till's favor. Like I said, you noticed with Bisping. Bisping never lost a decision in London, right? Or in the UK. Bisping never lost a decision over there, and now that he's retired, I feel like they're kind of looking for someone else to rally behind. And, it's like another thing in Brazil. A lot of Brazilian fighters typically don't lose in decisions in Brazil. So it's one of those things where if you're going into someone's home country, you got to finish them.
Yeah, and I think we learned that the hard way, Ty, a couple of weeks ago on one of those Brazilian cards. We lost a couple close decisions on that one.
Yeah, well, going into Juan's fight with Arjan Bhullar, it's in Canada, correct?
Yeah, it's in Canada, but
so you're gonna have to finish him.
I mean, historically speaking, finishing isn't an issue for me, so
yeah,
I'm not worried about that. I don't think there's anyone alive that can take the amount of volume that I throw for 3 rounds. So
Yeah. So you started your weight cut a little bit less this time, right?
Yeah, I didn't get quite as fat this time around. Part of that's the girlfriend. You know, she saw some interview where I said I wasn't gonna have abs, and she made some comments. And,
she wants abs.
yeah. Made me feel
Don't we
bad.
all, bro? Don't we all?
Yeah. So now normally, so usually I get up to about 305, 315 between fights, especially when I have as long between them as I did this time. It's part of the reason I like to stay as active as I do. You know, so this time I got up to about 295, and I've kind of leveled out right there. I was 293 on Sunday. The goal is to be walking around at about 283 April 13th. Maintain that until 2 weeks out, and that's when we're going to start my sodium and water manipulation. So it's a process for sure.
How's camp going right now?
You know, it sucks. I can't eat what I want to eat. I can't drink anymore, obviously, and I think the lack of drinking hits me harder than the lack of food, honestly. But you know, it's good. You know, I'm feeling overall healthier. I feel a lot better than I normally do at this point. I'm a lot stronger than I normally am at this point because usually I just party, you know, for a month or two straight after a fight, especially if I don't hear about having another one, and then it makes the cut very frantic. So this time we were asking for fights in March and April, so I was trying to kind of stay in shape and not really party as much as I normally do. And obviously also like not being single, I don't really have a reason to go out and party as much anymore. So it's been an adjustment, but it's a good adjustment, and I think ultimately it's taking a more serious outlook towards my career and everything.
So since this is a Brews and Bets podcast, what's your drink of choice?
Oh man, I always start off the night with a Cosmo. That's my go-to. After a Cosmo, I typically do an old fashioned, and then after that, it's rum. I'll either drink rum straight or rum and Dr. Pepper with a couple of limes in there. And then if the bartender has the new seasonal fruity drink, I always like to try those. Keep it fresh.
So I seen your snack selection after weigh-ins last time. So we're actually all credentialed to work media. If we cover your fight, I think that we should get the invite to come snack on some of these things with you.
Oh yeah, dude! If you guys get credentialed for the fight, you can come up to the hotel room right after weigh-in. The less I eat, the better.
No, I seen the picture of all the snacks. I was like, oh man, everything.
yeah, we go in over there.
Yeah. So
let me ask you a quick question about cutting that much weight. Do you said 305 to 315? Do most heavyweights cut that much weight?
No. The thing is, like me at 315, I'm sitting at about 22% body fat. At 305, I have 20.5% body fat. So we don't ever want my body fat in the 25% range. So 315 is kind of the limit, and that's like my trainers actually told me if I ever get that big again, he's quitting. So can't do that. But you know, so at 300 to 305, I'm sitting right at 20% body fat, and you know that's not a lot of fat for being that big. And now we don't ever like my body fat to get below 14%, so we try and stay in the 14 to 18% range. Hopefully for this one, I'll be walking around at about 15% by the time fight time comes around.
And your plan is to get to like 285 on fight night, right?
Yeah. I always walk in the cage at least 283.
283.
The lightest I've ever walked is like for one of my amateur fights. I think I walked in at 275, and I just didn't really feel quite as strong as I normally do. So 280 to 285 is that magic range for me where I feel my best. Or my trainer says that's where I'm my best. I think I'm my best at 295, but you know, I don't want to have that big of a gut on TV now. You know, I'm getting more coverage. I got to look good.
Yeah. So being that Bhullar is such a good wrestler, I know you have a wrestling background also, but have you switched switched anything in training or?
No,
I mean,
it's funny that people say he's like such a good wrestler. He's really not. He wasn't even an Olympian. He was an Olympic alternate, one. And two, it's Canada. Like, can you name the last Canadian Olympic champion?
No, I can't.
Yeah, you can't. There's 5 true heavyweights in all of Canada, so I'm not super. There's not a whole lot of competition there. And you know, I went back to his college wrestling days where he wrestled NAIA, which is at best you can say it's Division II NCAA. I have over 100 Division I matches in college. You know, I think I'm better at wrestling than him. If we do go straight wrestling, that would be his only chance at winning. But I'm not super concerned, man. I just look at him, and even if he is like in any field, if he were to have a technical advantage, I'm so much bigger than he is. It doesn't really matter to me. Like, what is he, 6'1"? I'm 6'5". He's got a 75.5-inch reach. Mine's 81. He walks around maybe at 240, 250, and I'm cutting down from 295. Like, it just, on paper, is not good for him. So even if he did have a technical advantage, I think I'm so big and so powerful, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I was just watching some videos that other people have done on YouTube of breaking down the fight, and they were concerned about the wrestling, but I kind of feel the way that you thought anyway.
Yeah, honestly, Bhullar hasn't looked good in his wrestling in the UFC so far.
He got submitted, right?
One thing we've noticed about Bhullar is, you know, he does have a very naturally neutral stance. And while that's like good for everyday life and athletics, it's really not. It's a lot of strain on your back. And, you know, if he were to shoot like that on me, I could just, I'm so tall, even if he did fully extend, my feet would still be on the ground. So we're not overly concerned about it. Obviously, we're prepared and we respect him as an athlete and as a competitor, but we're not like sitting here saying like there's nowhere in this fight we don't feel comfortable going.
Yeah, I noticed he leaves his neck out a lot when he shoots in. Also, it's like he old school wrestling style instead of the MMA style takedowns.
Right.
Yeah.
Juan, are there anybody else on this card of the 26 fighters, guys and girls, that maybe you've worked out with, that you have a little bit of an insight into their training? Want to make a play or want to make a pick on any of them?
On the same card as me?
No, on this card here, this card tonight that we're trying to break down. Maybe on the undercard or anybody like that. Anybody come through your gym and you were able to train with them?
Who all's on it? So just start naming names. I don't even know. I'm going to the event next weekend because I've trained with Curtis before. We're managed by the same guy. He's gonna walk guys. So bet Curtis Blades for sure next weekend. But yeah,
I mean, for the most part, there's no heavyweights on here. A lot of the guys are European. So like Jordan Rinaldi's a guy from the United States. Masvidal, as you know, Dominic Reyes.
Yeah, I'd definitely vote Reyes. Bet Reyes. We're managed by the same guy. I'm telling you, that guy is almost as big as me, height wise, and he's strong. He's got that type of fast twitch power and fluidity that not many can match in that weight class.
And he's a former basketball player, right?
Football player.
Football. Okay, he's a football player. Ian Heinisch and Dan Ige are the other American fighters. Maybe cross paths with them in the gym.
Yeah, Heinisch and I fought on the same Contender Series card. We kind of shared a workout room. We never worked out together, but I know he is one of another guy that's just really well rounded, got decent wrestling, and he's crazy strong for his size. So, who's he fighting?
He's got Tom Breeze. He's got a tough opponent here.
Oh yeah, that's a stretch then. But I know Ian trains well. He trains hard. So if there was like one that I would go out on a limb and bet on, it would be that guy. But I would for sure put money on Reyes.
Yeah, and one of the questions in the chat was this week any underdogs worth a shot other than Safarov. We mentioned Safarov early. So Ty, you want to go over this just again? Safarov, I have no problem making a play on. Heinisch, you said you would make a play on?
Yeah, and I know you said that you were on Naramini over Grundy. I actually think Grundy has a path to victory if he can execute his takedowns. I don't know if it'll happen, but I think that at plus 125, I wish I was getting better odds on it, but I'm kind of keeping an eye on that one just to see.
Yeah, he was as high as like plus 175, I think, early in the week tee.
Yeah, I was going to say, Ty, if you want better odds, I'll just go heads up on you with him because I think Nad's going to beat him. We could take the vig right out of it.
we could probably do that.
I'm with Ty on this one. I think once Grundy can get it to the ground, he keeps his opponents on the ground. He doesn't let them back up. So I think he can just going to grind out, 3 rounds and just get a decision victory.
Listen, I could have action with both of you guys. No problem with that. No problem with that. So Juan, anything else? Anything else you want to mention? Any sponsors maybe that you want to shout out and people that are helping you in your fighting career right now?
Yeah, definitely. My sponsors, first and foremost, we got to go Rhino Truck Bedliners. They're my big sponsors. Been with me since my Contender Series bout, and make it so I can train full time and not starve. So love those guys. Rhino Pro Truck Bedliners. And then we've got FlemingAttorneys.com, Houston's premier personal injury attorneys. Those guys are awesome. They've been with me since my pro debut. So big shout out to those guys. And, of course, we've got the Fight Lab out in Katy, all my coaches out here, David Kelly and Jeremy Laughlin, Paradigm Training Center, which is my home gym, sports site, Ed. It's run out of Top TOP, and that's in Bel Air area down in Houston. Then we've got, my strength and conditioning / nutritionist / MMA game planning, and he works all the mechanics of my striking also. He basically everything on some level he's involved in, and that's my main strength and conditioning coach, Ryan Casey Baker. I can't say enough of what that guy does. I wouldn't be able to fight if it wasn't for him getting me down to weight. So definitely the most important member of the team when it comes to that aspect. And other than that, not really many other people. Just, the sponsors and my gyms. Of course, all my fans, and then my management company, Mata Leon.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you, fight in a few weeks. Ty, you got anything else for Juan? I know you were the one who was able to hook up this interview.
No, I mean, I asked everything that I was kind of curious about, and just excited to have you on, and looking forward to the fight. I think you're gonna do well.
Yeah, I'm looking to put in another bet. I think last time, Juan, I think I bet you by KO TKO, and I think I cashed it at minus 240, something like that. I think that was about the line, Ty, right?
Yeah, I actually hit one up on Twitter and told him that we were going all in on his knockout.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, we did do that. So again, Juan, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it, and sorry about the mix-up with the time. Dave, first time, 1 out of 36. So I appreciate you coming on. That was great, and hope everybody wins some bets this weekend. All right.
Thanks for having me on, guys.